Honestly, let's just keep it real, almost as if it's just us speaking. So yeah, let's get started by let me think of a question here. When we started working out, William, how what was your initial impression of me?
Well, when we first met, I said I don't think it's a match. You remember?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, because I saw some of the things that you had up, and I just graphically I didn't think it made sense for me. But I could tell you knew a lot of technical things, and so I kind of at first said no, right? And
Yeah.
then I think soon after, I think what you did was you pulled up some other kinds of designs, and I was like, okay, I could work with this. And I'd already worked with other people, and you spend a lot of time finding out what doesn't work, and that's the hardest part, right? Is wasting time. So when you sent me the new, let's call them templates to work with, and I saw that you could do the design, at least to my liking, I was interested. And then afterwards, when I found out you were studying Alex Hormozy's work and things like that, so it was much more than just like, hey, let me do what you say, but we'd bounce a lot of things off each other, which was pretty good because it motivated me because frankly, I mean, I don't want to do marketing. I don't want to be a part of building websites. I don't,
Yeah.
it's not what I do. So seeing that you were motivated, and then, I'm listening to more Alex Hormozy after that to keep myself understanding how to get the word out about my passion, my mission, what I do. Yeah, it was that to me was probably one of the upsides that made me like working with you because you were motivated, not just somebody that I could ask to do a task and they say, "Oh yeah, it'll do. I can do it." And
Mm,
then they do. There's no conversation around it. There's no, no passion in it. It's
got it.
just, a job that you're getting paid to do. And it's nice to have the back and forth sometimes.
Got it, got it. And when you talked about the marketing side of things, what do you think of like my marketing knowledge in a sense? Like, working with me for almost a year now, or we can already assume that we've been working for a year now. If you were to describe my marketing knowledge to someone, ideally, some of my students, how would you describe my marketing knowledge and like maybe how did it help you out?
Huh. Well, for me, I think that if I wasn't on the same page, it would be a lot of information to understand and get on board with. And I think though, because we're on the same page about helping people and the value of marketing with things, I think that, I think you know a lot. I think you have a lot of information. I think the enjoyment of what you're doing makes it even better because you love it. So for me, that's fun to be able to sense that from you because as a strong empath, I feel your enjoyment. So I feel good about it as well.
Got it, got it. That's amazing. Honestly, on a personal level, that's amazing to hear that you could sniff out my enjoyment on working on this stuff. Let's see. So to summarize, it's been working. We've been working for almost a year now, or probably we can say that we've been working for a year now. If you were to summarize what it's like the experience of working with me, how would you describe it? And like maybe some of the things that you've liked, something that things that I could improve on.
Well, let's see. The things that I like. I like that you come up with ideas that can work. I like that you help keep me on track because sometimes I want to do more things
Yeah,
than are possible.
yeah.
So you say, wait, which one is the most important right now? Because, we have to do something and we can't do 12 things. So that's, I like that it happens fast for the most part, right? If I need something to get done, it's mostly done. Sometimes maybe it's a reminder or two. I think that, yeah, as long as I'm focused on like lately, I haven't been as focused on building things. I've just been kind of doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So you haven't had to do as many things, right? Your time is more available for you. And now that we're getting started on some new projects, suddenly we're getting things done again. And it's kind of how it goes. It ebbs and flows sometimes. And, I can lose marketing motivation because it's not what I love.
Hmm.
What. But I think when it comes to the big picture, where it's going, that can be very nice, especially as I see growth. And, when we're doing things like webinars, that was great, right? We'd have, a lot of people on a webinar very quickly. And then my work keeps developing. So it changes from healing people's headaches to now healing the emotional energetics of trauma and things like that, emotional trauma.
Yeah.
So it's a whole start again, which, I don't love, but that's what the work requires. It requires when I learn something new and I want to get the word out, it means doing something different. And that means we have to, in some sense, build from there on a new topic. That's not my favorite, but it has to be done on some level so people learn about it. Let's see. Least favorite.
By the way, you can be honest with me on this one. I won't take it in a negative way, so don't sugarcoat it. Let me know which part of it I could really improve on, and so yeah, feel
Least
free.
favorite. Okay, yeah, sure. Least favorite is when you get busy and you just kind of drop the ball. You just disappear. It's made me more than once just start searching for a backup person, knowing that I have to test people. I have people in my backup account that are always available if I
Yeah,
need them. They're just not as much fun to talk to. They're just those people who get the job done if
yeah,
needed, and they
yeah.
can do it. They've proven themselves. So they sit there. They're hourly kind of like, I'm available. This will take me 3 hours. I'll do it. But again, they're not going to ask me the questions of, well, do you want this to be like this, or this? Because it'll lead to this, and this. While maybe that's a conversation you and I will have.
Mm.
So yeah, I think when you get busy with other projects and then you disappear, for me, that's like, okay, it's happened more than once. Uh, I'm sure that it'll happen again. I don't love that, especially if I'm focused on something. What did I have? I had an event to do a few weeks ago, remember? And then
Yeah.
suddenly didn't get the videos out that were supposed to be got out. And I was like, that sucks.
Yeah, and that's an honest mistake on my end. Off the record. That's an honest mistake on
Well,
my
on the
It's
record,
alright.
off the record, what it comes down to is this quote that you've given me more than once, which is, that's on me. Like, what does that mean? It means it's on me. I don't care who's done. It just didn't get done.
Got it, got it. That makes sense. That makes sense. I have like a couple of questions in here just to keep this recording quick. My last question would be this one will be going to my students, to my future students, to my audience. What would you
Mhm.
say to them in terms of my expertise on the software Go High Level? How would you describe me as someone utilizing your Go High Level account and like just talk through it and yeah.
Go high level is something where if you don't use it, you're not going to learn. And even if you do use it, there's so many functions you're never going to use. So Matt had a really good understanding of Go High Level. And if there was something he didn't know, he would get it figured out. Maybe whether it's ask somebody or learn somehow. And so, yeah, I think for Go High Level, that was the number one reason we started working together,
Yeah.
because I wanted to have this system set up where I could have multiple email websites and things like that ongoing for whatever I needed for my funnels. And I think for Go High Level, yeah, I think you're really good with that Go High Level. At this point with me, you know how to build it out fast, for anything that I need, which is just what I need. So it's great.
What would you say to my students if they're hesitating to try out my free courses? What would you tell them?
Well, if it's free, I think you have potential to, especially if you're in the Philippines or someplace not in the US, you have the potential to make a lot of money with US based customers because, here the people that are experts in Go High Level are very expensive,
Yeah.
and over in the Philippines, you could still charge a substantial amount, but it won't be as much as the people here in the
Mm.
US. And so that I think is something important to be aware of. And I think that if you learn how to use this system, and like I said, I mean, so many things you can do with Go High Level that you'll never use. And I think that's important to know too, so you don't get overwhelmed by it. Do the parts that your clients need.
Mm.
Don't master the parts that somebody doesn't need just because it's cool that it's there. Like there are basic things that you should be able to do. And even if you call Go High Level and ask for help, sometimes the helpline doesn't know how to do it because they
Yeah.
haven't done it yet themselves. So I think taking the course, if it's going to teach you the things that Matt has been doing for me, then you basically know what you need for the business.
In most scenarios, most cases.
Yeah, in most cases, but how many websites do I have? And each one's at this point kind of doing the same thing on some level. So
Yeah.
you know these are the primary things that are needed for anybody running their website, their business, their automations, their nurture campaigns, their funnels, all that stuff.
Awesome, awesome. And yeah, William, I'll have to end that recording right here. That was a fantastic and quick recording.